Okay, so picture this. You're sitting in a chair right now. Can you stand up from that chair and sit back down 5 times in exactly 15 seconds? I want you to really imagine actually taking this 15-second chair rise test right now. It seems like a very simple, almost trivial movement, doesn't it? But as it turns out, this basic physical task is actually one of the most accurate predictors of our long-term health and independence. Well, here's the startling reality. According to clinical data, if you are an older adult and it takes you longer than 15 seconds to complete those 5 chair rises, you are nearly 3 times more likely to die earlier. Let that sink in for a second. You're also 84% more likely to be hospitalized compared to folks who can complete the task faster. We so often think of aging as this mysterious, totally unavoidable decline, but the truth is our daily functional strength tells the real story of our longevity. Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're completely flipping the script on the aging narrative. We're moving far away from the idea of inevitable decline and stepping right into a mindset of proactive empowerment. We're going to dive into what we call the longevity trifecta. Because by mastering your fuel, your force, and your frame of mind, you can completely redefine what your golden years actually look like. So, here is our roadmap for the explainer today. First, we'll look at the silent muscle loss, then move into fueling your golden years, building functional leg strength, and finally, mindset and positive encouragement. All right, let's jump straight into Section 1, the silent muscle loss. So why exactly do our bodies naturally start to lose their physical edge as the years go by? It's a silent process, sure, but the effects are incredibly loud. The medical term for this is sarcopenia. It's basically the progressive decline of muscle mass and strength that comes right along with the aging process. Right now, this is affecting more than 10% of the older adult population, which creates a massive barrier to maintaining an active lifestyle. But here's where it gets highly preventable. Research indicates that up to 46%, almost half, of older adults fail to consume enough daily protein to actually fight this condition. And that nutritional gap directly places them at a much, much higher risk for frailty, muscle wasting, and even cognitive impairment. And part of the reason so many older adults fall behind on their protein needs is due to a biological hurdle called anabolic resistance. I want you to think of this literally like a broken switch in your body. When you're young, you eat protein and the switch easily flips on, telling your muscles to grow and repair. But as we age, our muscles become stubbornly less responsive to those signals. Your body requires a significantly higher dose of amino acids just to stimulate the exact same basic muscle repair that used to happen completely automatically. Which brings us right to Section 2, fueling your golden years. Now that we understand the biological hurdles, this tricky combination of sarcopenia and anabolic resistance, how do we fight back? To overcome that broken switch, we absolutely have to hit specific daily protein targets. For men over 50, the data clearly shows you need 1 to 1.2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight every single day to give your muscles the amino acids they're craving. For women aged 60 and above, the strategy is all about consistency. It requires protein at every single meal to maintain that crucial muscle mass. Getting this high-quality protein intake isn't just a casual suggestion. It is the absolute foundational pillar for maintaining your physical independence. When you break down the options, whey protein really stands out from the pack. Specifically, it's all about the leucine content. Leucine is the exact amino acid that acts as the ultimate switch to trigger muscle protein synthesis. Because whey protein has a very high leucine content, paired with a blazing fast absorption rate, it provides a genuinely superior impact on muscle synthesis. It delivers that quick amino acid boost older adults need, making it the undeniable gold standard for fighting anabolic resistance. But hey, protein is just one piece of the puzzle, right? An abstract from the American Journal of Multidisciplinary Research and Development highlights how our broader midlife dietary patterns are absolutely critical. Diets that are rich in vegetables, fruits, and antioxidants, think the Mediterranean diet, correlate with a massive 25 to 35% lower risk of chronic disease. By combining nutrient-dense whole foods with your protein targets, you drastically reduce inflammation and create a physiological environment where your body can actually thrive. Moving right along, let's tackle Section 3, building functional leg strength. Listen, you can fuel your body perfectly, but if you aren't building the functional leg strength to actually carry you through your daily life, all that high-quality fuel has nowhere to go.
We really need to look at the harsh reality of weak legs. This isn't just about athletic performance, not at all. Studies show that older adults with low quadricep strength face a 51 to 65% higher risk of earlier death. Weak legs signal severe underlying risks. They are a core component of physical frailty, and they drastically increase your risk of catastrophic falls. But even beyond that, your legs are your metabolic engine. When they weaken, you see diminished glucose uptake and lower insulin sensitivity, which directly impacts your overall metabolic health.
It's actually amazing how ancient wisdom perfectly backs up modern clinical science. The Roman philosopher Marcus Tullius Cicero once said, "It is exercise alone that supports the spirits and keeps the mind in vigor." Physical exercise doesn't just build the muscle tissue in your legs, it sustains your mental energy, your confidence, and your overall vitality. Okay, so how do we actively build this force? It boils down to highly specific, actionable resistance training. First up, squats. These are absolutely essential for building strength and mobility all the way through your hips, your knees, and your ankles. Second, deadlifts. These strengthen the posterior chain, meaning your glutes, your hamstrings, and your lower back, which is vital for good posture and hip mechanics. And third, lunges and step-ups. These are incredible for building the single-leg balance and stability you need to navigate things like stairs and uneven surfaces safely. And the data on this is just incredibly encouraging. Consistent, regular physical activity reduces the risk of mobility impairments by 30 to 50%. And even for those who might have severe existing mobility issues, all is not lost. Tailored, seated aerobic and resistance training can mitigate cardiovascular morbidity and mortality by 25%. The human body is quite literally designed to adapt to resistance at any age. All right, that leads us to our final pillar, Section 4, Mindset and Positive Encouragement. We've got to support all that physical work, our fuel and our force, with our final pillar, frame of mind. And I want to inject a little bit of humor here with a great quote from the late Betty White. She said, "The older you get, the better you get, unless you're a banana." It's funny, but it's deeply true. Aging isn't a time to lose your zest for life. It's a time to completely embrace the joy, the lightness, and the rich experiences of your golden years. You know, the way we speak to and interact with older adults plays a massive role in their health. The approach utilized by top care communities like Tuscan Hills Senior Living stresses that we must avoid infantilization at all costs. We need to treat seniors like the competent adults they are. By keeping things light and fun, engaging in positive socialization, and working together to set reasonable, reachable goals, we actively boost their self-worth. This kind of uplifting environment is quite literally a vital health intervention. When you combine this kind of mindset with our other pillars, the measurable clinical outcomes are honestly staggering. The synergy between an active lifestyle and a healthy mind is profound. Physically and socially active seniors exhibit a 30% lower risk of depression-like symptoms. Even more incredibly, they see a 20 to 40% reduced likelihood of Alzheimer's, dementia, and cognitive decline. Fusing physical activity with a supportive social environment effectively neutralizes the severe emotional and physical impacts of isolation. So that brings us to the big question to wrap things up. Do something today that your future self will thank you for. What will that be? Are you going to adjust your protein intake to fight anabolic resistance? Will you start doing squats and step-ups to build up that functional leg strength? Or will you actively engage in positive socialization to protect your mind? You now have the full blueprint for your fuel, your force, and your frame of mind. I challenge you to take proactive steps today because the power to master your functional longevity is entirely in your hands. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and stay focused, stay active, and stay curious.